Welcome to Holistic Living University. You are a beginner, you have no experience in growing your own produce. Well, here is your best opportunity to learn from scratch in the poorest soils. If I can do it, you can do it too. Grow and harvest abundance for your body, soul, and spirit. It's sowing time, and we're going to go briefly through all the different steps of sowing our crops, different stages. First of all, the preparation. We've got all the soils, potting mixes and so ready, and the boxes. We have got the seeds ready. Got some water also nearby, and all the utensils that we need. So to start with, we're going to have a look at the utensils. Here we've got a nice damper to pack down the soil, and of course a brush to sweep up, and then cutting tools. So I'm going to use the secateurs to get some lovely branches to make then afterwards from these plastics that I've cut from sandbags, which really looking to economize here today, to cover the seedlings with newspaper and with the plastic, just to make sure we have wildlife and also a lot of wind, cold nights coming, and I don't have space in the house, so I'm going to look to cover them up nicely with the plastic and make some hoops from hazel, bend them and put them in the boxes. You'll see later what that looks like. So starting, we have the seed flats and the different types. We've got one that's got partly decompartmentalized areas. I want to show you also the ones that are totally in module form. I personally don't like the module form ones because the little seedling roots can't connect. The mycorrhiza, the fungal and bacterial community can't freely communicate with each other with the separation of the plastic. So I prefer to sow into semi-modular boxes like this plastic, or here that's just this one space which I prepared already with eggshells, and also I've got the wood ash over here, which I can either put a little bit at the bottom. Also I got some coral little balls with microfiber that is attracting far infrared to enhance the growth of the plants and the health of the plants. Also, that will enhance the whole maturing later, as it's going to be in the modules or in the soil blocks as we start sowing and planting, transplanting, pricking out, etc. We've got also calcified seaweed, which I rather use for the pricking out boxes. And here you see the eggshells. We got also activated carbon, which is from my filters, which I cut up and reuse the activated carbon, which is dried out, and I'll mix it with the soil. I'm not too worried about any residues in there. The humus in the soil will actually take it all up, and the carbon itself will hold on to it. We've got here hoof and horn, which I'll mix into the pricking out mixes. We've got here a lovely sowing mix. Behind it, just pure bone meal, and then we got this one is actually the pure compost for the sowing mix, and here we've got the sowing mix already mixed with some leaf mold, sharp sand, grit, and some of this lovely compost. We see also fish blood and bone. I don't use that unless in the garden, I think, because it will enhance the damping off. Here we've got a little bit of a rougher mix for sowing for bigger seeds, which I'm going to use for the beans and things, and here's a finer, lovely mix that we haven't sifted yet, which is one thing to do, which I use one of these lovely blue trays for, and then we're going to sow into that. Then down here we have grit, sharp sand, a bit rougher for the pricking out mix, a rough kitchen compost, and here you see some of these lovely balls, coral and fine infrared microfiber, which is going to enhance the growth of the plants here, and a mix ready with sharp sand, compost and leaf mold. So for pricking out, I prefer to have deeper trays or boxes like this one here for the cabbage plants, for example, and over here for sowing our beans, and also I would use pots like that for the cucumbers, for the courgettes, for the pumpkins here, and you have butternut squash seed in here and your runner bean seeds. And then there's all these other seeds which we're going to sow today in the shallower flats, which are here. And you can see here I'm making use of the toilet rolls. You might have been wondering why people were going mad about buying toilet rolls, but I think they're really just after this. They actually grow their own garden, because these are perfect for modules. Now, I said earlier I don't like modules. I don't like plastic modules, I should have said, like we saw over there. But these ones are cardboard, and if I fill it with soil in between, soon there's going to be a communication going on through the moisture that soaks through the walls, and then the rest of this box, I haven't got many of these toilet rolls left over, so I sow the rest, putting a mix in here, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you the different phases. So that's what we need today to be prepared for the sowing. I got the water ready, and then the newspaper to cover up the freshly sown seeds, and I will then put the plastic over the top just to make sure it keeps moist. In one case here you see a wonderful arrangement actually, and it rained heavily last night and the night before. We've got a tray that is solid and holds the water. I put the seed tray I sowed into it, and it will avoid or save me to water the seedlings from above. I'll just put water into the tray below, and that will stop the water from compacting, and it will also stop from helping or encouraging weed seeds or wild herb seeds to germinate with my other seeds I've sown, because we're getting the moisture from below. And you'll see in a minute how I'm damping down the seed drills so we get the moisture pulled up through the capillary to the actual seed that I've sown, the actual cultivar, the veggies, and the rest of the surface will be broken with a fine, loose, crumbly structure that's going to be dry and will not allow for any other germination of other seeds. Okay, so that's the first step, and let's go to number 2 then. If you want to put eggshells in the bottom of your seed trays, and that's both for sowing and for pricking out, then if you don't have enough eggshells, like I've got very few eggshells, if you look down here now, they're roughly crushed up, but then I got this mortar and pestle, and I can actually grind it down finely if I take my time and prepare this previous to actually kneading it. I've got very fine stuff in the house, and the finer it is, the less you need at the bottom of your seed trays. And then also the plants which might be overstanding in your seed boxes might have good nutrition from this lovely eggshell material that's bringing the heat and the light quality of the chickens into the seed mix. So that's the way we prepare that. And if you've got other material, rock for example, and you want to crush it up, I'll show you that with the preparation of the horn silica preparation, where we have a whole tube, a metal tube, and a metal pole where we crush up rocks and make fine powder out of it. At the end we could also use the pestle and mortar to grind it down finely. So here you see the seed compost mix with the that's a mixture of actually leaves and weeds, cuttings. You see pieces of little sticks still left that came through the sieve. We'll just put up with that. It's a mixture also with sharp sand, and then we have a little bit of kitchen compost in there. I would say probably 2/3 of it is a weedy mixture from my gardens, where I do a lot of work with pruning, weeding, maintaining, sweeping the paths. So all these residues are in here. And that's about 2/3 of this mix. And then we have maybe a 1/6 of sand and a 1/6 of the kitchen compost, which will enrich the plant growth with potash and phosphorus, because we want that early root development. So the roots go down, we don't want any top growth, we don't want a rich compost. You see it's very fine, friable. If I crunch it together, it falls apart easily, because when I want to prick out, once I put this now into these seed trays, and then I will sow into it, and I want to take the seedlings out, I want to do that, as you will see at another time, with prying them apart, not too hard, because we don't want to damage the roots. So before the roots form their laterals, they've just tap roots. When this mix falls apart, I can just pull the seedlings apart and prick them out. And first of all, we've put the soil in loosely. Make sure anything escapist like sticks and things are not in the way anymore. And then when we've done that, make sure you overfill it a little bit, and then with our hand we gently rake it into place, take the surplus off, maybe leave 1/4 of an inch or 2.5 millimeters to the rim, so when we do have the water from the top, it will not overflow. It will sink into and soak into the soil. Make sure the corners are nicely patted down. So we do that now. And then at the end we go over it with our damper here, which you see I've just made from a floorboard. Very easy. It fits right into this, funnily enough. So there might be a bit of soil missing here. Make it nice and flat, because the ridges on the side are a little bit higher, so we just level that out. Our idea is to make this nice and level, so when we come to watering and putting the seeds in, if we don't have it level, then what will happen is the moisture in the humps will dry out first, obviously. So wherever the soil's raised, and the moisture in the dips is going to stay. So the seeds in the dips will rot possibly, and the seeds on the ridges will dry out. So we want to make sure have a homogeneous environment with as much control for moisture for the plants as possible. Now this is nicely padded down. We'll see in a minute how we're going to sow. Now we're getting ready for sowing. You see that I indented 4 indents in each row. 2 rows for onion and 2 rows for rocket, 2 rows for Chinese mustard, which I still have to indent. I've got here the onion seed, and as this little tray is semi-modular, I'm taking advantage of that, and I'm going to sow the seeds in clusters of 3-4 seeds, which then can come out without pricking out straight into the garden as a clump of a root ball with 3-4 plants that are growing in one place. So I plant each clump a little bit further apart from usual. I don't have to thin them out, and they will just push away from each other to then actually grow really well together in community, 3-4 together. So this type of semi-modular tray I'm going to make use for that kind of purpose. They're still all connected and communicating with each other, and the soil organisms are all free to move around, particularly the fungal community, the mycorrhiza. But then when I separate it out into the field, they establish and re-establish the mycorrhiza community by adding the 500 preparation, and that way we will see that we'll have lovely growth and maximum, optimum health in the plants for developing the good root system encouraged by the preparation 500 or horn manure preparation. So now I've got the rocket seed. I've got just about 15 seeds or so, or 20 in between my fingers, my thumb and my forefinger, and I'm just dropping them in a few at a time in each of these little dents, and you can see I have too many. There's still seeds in my hand. It's amazing how easily you can oversow. So you might have noticed with the seed tray, which is a little bit weak to carry around, and it folds and it bends and then you get cracks, and I put it actually into another tray to hold it. And now we have sown all these little indentations. We just take some soil from this lovely mix we made and fill in the holes, and then later you will see how we take that soil from over here, how we just use that lovely tool that you could say misuse, but I try to make use of any tools I possibly can to then firm down the seed so all the moisture will only go to the seed. Clip was of value to you. I will accompany you from the beginning, starting your biodynamic garden to ensure your own secure food supply in these challenging times. Also, let's help others to grow their own food in any situation. To do this, click the share button, like this, and subscribe to the Holistic Living University channel. For more info, join my online course and Q&A sessions. The info for this you will find in the show notes.